The nation got a fair warning about the likelihood of flash floods. As a major coastal state, Lagos was referenced in a number of these weather forecasts. The last few weeks have witnessed torrential rainfall, which has led to parts of the state being flooded, with pictures of near disaster emerging. 2 people were declared missing by emergency responders on Saturday, July 9 this year, after 2 vehicles were swept away by flood in Oyatoki area of Orile Agege in Lagos. The fact that the situation could get worse as the rainy season peaks is worrisome. This explains why our focus on this edition of Panorama will be on flood prevention and management in Lagos State. Don't forget that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on YouTube at NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page at NTA Network News, our Twitter handle at NTA News Now, and on Instagram at NTA Network for updates. I am Adeola Komiakere. Welcome to Panorama. We'll begin with the NLC. The Nigerian Labour Congress and other organized labor movements in Lagos have commenced a 2-day peaceful protest to press home their demand that the federal government should end the protracted strike embarked upon by the Academic Staff Union of Universities ASU 5 months ago. The protest march, which took off from Ikeja roundabout, is expected to terminate at the State House of Assembly, Alausa, Ikeja. Meanwhile, personnel of the Nigeria Police are on ground to provide security cover for the peaceful protesters. The NLC leadership had few days ago sent out circulars to their state chapters notifying them of a nationwide protest which kicks off on Tuesday, 26 July 2022. The protest is to compel the federal government to resolve all lingering issues to reopen universities for academic activities. Now, 3 victims of the abducted Abuja to Kaduna train have been released. The victims, 2 males and a female, were released by the bandits at a location inside the forest along the Kaduna-Abuja highway. From there, they were picked up by their relatives. With the release of the 3 victims, the number of those still in captivity remained 40. President Muhammadu Buhari departs Abuja Tuesday for Monrovia, Liberia, to attend the 175th Independence Anniversary celebrations of the country. The president, who will be the special guest of honor at the event, joins other world leaders and organizations to rejoice with the people of Liberia at the event with the theme, Fostering Unity, Protecting Our Peace for Development and Prosperity. A statement signed by Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, notes the leading role played by Nigeria in the stabilization of a West African nation in the early 90s, leading to the establishment of democratic rule, and has continued to assist the country in many ways, especially through the Technical Aid Corps scheme. In 2019, President Buhari was conferred with the highest national honor in the country, the Grand Cordon, which is the most venerable order of knighthood of the pioneers of the Republic of Liberia, in recognition of Nigeria's continued support towards the development of the country. President Buhari is expected to stress the importance of the respect for rule of law throughout the sub-region. Peace and security of Liberia and Sierra Leone is important to Nigeria, given the enormous investment in men, materials, and resources expended by this country to secure the 2 states. Bilaterally, Nigeria and Liberia must bring to the table issues of cross-border terrorism, bolstering defense and trade ties. President Buhari will be accompanied on the trip by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, and Director General, National Intelligence Agency, Ambassador Ahmed Rufai Abubakar, and is expected back in the country later today. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari granted audience to the outgoing president of the ECOWAS Commission, Jean-Claude Cassibro, on Monday, thanking him for the role he played in ensuring that the sub-regional body remains united, responsible, and responsive. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The outgoing president of the ECOWAS Commission, Jean-Claude Cassibro, was in the State House to bid farewell to President Muhammadu Buhari as his 4-year tenure comes to an end. He thanked the Nigerian leader for his unprecedented support to the sub-regional organization, particularly at a time of great challenges like COVID-19 and political instability in some West African countries. He also lauded all ECOWAS leaders as well as Nigerian ministers who made his tour of duty a successful one. President Muhammadu Buhari noted that despite the challenges of insecurity and political tension in some countries, the ECOWAS president and his team showed capacity and patience in dealing with all the issues. Jean-Claude Cassibro, he said, demonstrated great commitment to the unity of ECOWAS and of the sub-region, describing his tenure as very successful. President Buhari hoped that Bro's successor would study what made him succeed for the good of the sub-regional body. Jean-Claude Cassibro, an Ivorian politician and economist, served as Minister of Industry and Mines before his appointment as President of the ECOWAS Commission in March 2018. He is succeeded by Dr. Umar Aliyu of the Gambia. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Now let's talk the environment. It's no longer news that lives were lost and properties submerged following the downpour in Lagos on Saturday, July 9, 2022. Annie Daniels reports that residents still live with the fear that they may lose more as long as the rains persist.
Makoko community is not only a densely populated area of Lagos, but has canals all around it. Gaining access into some of its streets was almost impossible for me because of how bad the roads are. No thanks to the rains.
Where is the gutter we have so that when we are flushing, the water will go through the gutter, but even all the gutters they do is blocked. When gutter is down, the house is up.
Within last week, just in that the water is coming from the ground.
Where will you sleep this night?
We'll go and sleep another person's house.
Several hours after the rains, the floods are still visible and residents are still counting their losses.
And some people were not even around. So it enters their room, TV, spoils so many electronics and...
We dey fear. This one now will fall again. Now all for us. We dey fear.
Young and old, nobody is exempted from pains of the previous day's rains.
When I don't know how to walk, and if I still see my white and my shoe.
These canals are supposed to make movements of flood easy, but that seems not to be the case here.
See the canal, see the floor here. They need to open this channel so that water will can flow. Exactly.
Lagos promise us that they'll come and do the casting of all the canals so that it will be avoiding the much rebels that always enter the canal. So we are still waiting for the government to come and do that.
Until that happens, Lagosians are sure they will have more property and productive hours to use, since they cannot stop the downpour. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Joining me for more discussion on the threats that flooding represents and how to prevent and manage it is a climatologist and environmentalist, Professor Emmanuel Oladipo. He joins me from Abuja via Zoom. Professor, thanks for coming on Panorama to enlighten Nigerians on how best to keep safe during flooding.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Nigerians.
Okay, Prof, Whenever it rains, Lagos and flooding are like two peas in a pod. Some experts believe this is partly so because we tamper with the ecosystem and our activities is warming the earth. Is this correct? And if yes, how pervasive is this challenge?
Thank you very much. Sometimes let me commend NTA because you all of you seem to become experts now. Because you already said it clearly. The world, the globe, is moving through what they call a global warming system, which is taking place after about 10,000 years of stability in the climatic conditions. And this is likely to persist. There's nothing we can do about that at the end of the century or maybe beyond. In that case, the bottom line is what you have said. We have tampered with the ecosystem, and the nature is also fighting us back. This warming is the one responsible for bringing in a lot of moisture at a time, which is resulting in this massive amount of water per.
Okay, now, are we environment friendly when we take into cognizance our building patterns, particularly when we talk about factors that perennially cause flooding in the state? Okay, we seem to be having some challenges there with Professor Oladipo in Abuja. Meanwhile, we take a quick break, hoping that by the time we return, Prof's signal will be okay.
People get their news and information from more media sources than ever before.
Can you hear me now?
All the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for political gains, real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
This is still Panorama reaching you from the Lagos Network Center of the NTA. Before we went on this break, we were actually speaking to Professor Emmanuel Oladipo. Hello, Prof. Are you with us?
Thank you very much. I'm sorry the network is there.
It's okay. It's
yes, but let me just quickly see what I have to say before we lose it again. I said you have said it correctly. The warming will continue. The heavy rainfall per unit of time will continue. The continuous development of the usual wetlands and other drainage areas will continue. The problem Lagos and other coastal areas face is how do you marry the two? We want to develop, we want to build houses, and at the same time, the rain will continue to fall.
Yeah.
So how do we do it? I think what is important, somebody, when you are showing that documentary, said it very clearly. Government said we are going to do this, and they never came back. That is what is compounding the issue. I kept on saying this to every time we meet with the government of Lagos State. Government of Lagos State need to sit down, put together a very, very high level technical experts made up of engineers, environmentalists, work managers and everything, and look at the original map of Lagos and some of the areas which we will never be able to restore back, but at the same time we can try to reorganize these channels in such a way that they connect each other and be able to take a lot of this water. But for Lagos to claim ignorance that it's not going to rain and it's not going to flood, I think is going to be totally disastrous. And this is what is going to happen if we keep on neglecting every year, because after this month, there will be this August break is about in now. There will be another set of rainfall in September, After September, by October, everybody tends to forget again until another month. Exactly July 10 and 11, 2011, the same type of thing we are talking about happened. 2012, it happened. 2018, it happened. It's going to continue. And what we need is to sit down together, look at the complexity of the challenge, and mark out the strategy completely with the neighboring states, particularly Ogun and Ondo, to see how some of the water coming from those areas that enter through Lagos to reach the sea are properly managed together.
Okay, Prof. Now, would you say we are environment friendly when we take into cognizance our building patterns, particularly when we talk about factors that perennially cause flooding in the state?
Environment friendly, that is not in our vocabulary. Not only in Lagos, all over the country. The world is moving towards what we call vertical development. And that's what it means is that the idea that I will have a bungalow, a 2-bedroom, separate from my neighbor, is no longer there. Lagos has a very limited land, and population will continue to increase whether we like it or not. So there will be need for more houses. But what Lagos should do now is, rather than this monolithic concept, everybody sells land to individuals. The government has to find a way by which the landowners will be compensated, but development will be done by comprehensively supported institutions that will be encouraging vertical development, so that you can put about 10 bungalows on a particular land vertically, rather than 10 acres, 10 plots of land for 10 bungalows. One plot of land that can take about 10 bungalows or 20 bungalows with vertical development, power generation, decentralized, so that there will be lift, there will be other forms of things. Until we do that, there will be a time that there will be no more land to develop in Lagos, but there will be nowhere for water to flood, and the only way the water will do is to carry both the land, houses, and the people to whatever destination it wants. There's nothing you can do. The water is so powerful. If you see some houses, they just become like paper when the water is rushing in. And I think we have to accept that as a fact of life, that we must work together and develop Lagos in a comprehensive, environment-friendly, climate-resilient manner for our sustainable existence and development.
Let's talk about the climate change. Extreme weather events are inevitable, which is why environmentalists like yourself are advocating sustainable drainage systems, like you mentioned. How feasible is this option?
The purpose of understanding the extreme event is to enable us to determine what should be our measures to adapt. As I said, there's nothing we can do about these extreme events coming up now.
Yeah.
So what is important is we must be able to adapt, and many countries are doing it. A country like Netherlands, as I keep on giving as an example, is about 30% below sea level. And they are developing, they are making sure that their areas are not consistently flooded. So there's nothing possible, but it requires a comprehensive approach, a long-term strategy, a long-term roadmap, a long-term plan that will be executed by the government, whichever government, political party is in power. Flood is a common problem. Flood does not know whether it passes through a house occupied by PDP or APC or DPP. It doesn't matter.
Okay, Prof.
Not even through the neighbors. All which requires is I'm passing through a land and I must have my way. Exactly. So the people have to say, I'm ready for you, and this is what I want to do to contain and reduce your impact on my life and property.
All right, Prof, with the situation of Lagos at just 2 meters above the sea level, it is critical that we maintain a natural environmental defense system. Are we doing a good job of that along our coastlines?
No. You can see that this is again leads to the lack of integrated coastal zone management for the whole of the coastal area of Nigeria, and for Lagos in particular. If you look at what is happening in the Atlantic, for instance, there's a concern that the dredging and the sand filling for the development of Atlantic may be creating some upstream challenges to Goshen Estate and all the rest. So we need this comprehensive understanding. Let us understand exactly how the natural system functions in Lagos and its environment. If we understand it, then we understand, okay, how far have we disrupted the natural functionality of this area, which is called nature-based solution we look for.
Okay, Prof. I need to cut you here, Prof. Yes. I need to cut you here, Prof. Now you have made mention of what government should do and not do. Now, how can individual efforts of residents assist in flood prevention and management?
Okay. The major challenge in Lagos is the way we dump this refuse. And it's not done by the water, it's done by individuals. Mm-hmm. So we have to really accept, even when we have open drainages and canals, they should not be seen as waste dumps. They should be seen as ways of sustaining us, because if we dump the waste and we clog the drainages, when the rains come, the water will spread over areas which the canal will have prevented. So individuals in Lagos have to accept that waste dumping through these canals, through these open drainages, is the most dangerous thing they are doing to themselves, and it will continue to be. If you look at Nakopo area and all the rest, many of them don't even bother to pay for waste disposal. But this is where, again, there's nothing we can do in Nigeria, as far as I'm concerned. We as Nigerians, we don't like to do things unless we are more or less forced to do it. I think government needs to move in now and become very strict about how this waste dumping. Anywhere they see waste every day, people are penalized. And they must create means by which people, a lot of these waste dumps that they put on the road and get overspent over a period of time, create more interest for people to say, oh, the one I dumped last week is still there. So let me just do this into the canal. I think government and the people, again, mobilization. The way we mobilize ourselves for political meetings, let's mobilize for environmental management so that everybody will be aware. And for those that refuse to be aware, they be penalized as necessary.
Thank you very much, Professor Emmanuel Oladipo, for your thoughts on flooding in Lagos State and how to prevent flooding. And let me also thank you for appreciating the NTA for what they are doing as it regards environment matters. Thank you for your time once again, Prof.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Now it's time for us to take some sports news.
The Super Falcons of Nigeria arrived the country after finishing fourth at the just concluded Africa Women Cup of Nations in Morocco. The 9-time champions, who lost to Zambia ladies by a 0-0 in the third place match, arrived the country Monday afternoon with 15 players, while the other players have since returned to their various club sites. Still on football, about 20 grassroots football coaches in Lagos have benefited from a 2-day coaching seminar focused on building capacity and professionalism in the running of football academies. The resource persons from Green Sports Africa, who had organized a similar session in some other African countries, say for young African footballers to fulfill their dreams, the gap between talent and opportunity must be bridged with sustainable structures like standard training facilities and scientific training methods.
In terms of the playing, we need methodologies that say this is the way we play, this is how we want a player to look at the end of the development cycle. Talent and just with the grassroots, as a grassroots football coaches here have discussed, we have a common interest of elevating the game.
Team Nigeria emerged winner of the 11th edition of the African Arm Wrestling Championship, which ended over the weekend at the National Stadium, Lagos. Nigeria won 27 gold, 27 silver, and 22 bronze medals to finish in the first position. Egypt was second with 24 gold, while Ghana ended with third place with 18 gold, 22 silver, and 5 bronze medals.
18 states in Nigeria now have just arm wrestling. So the next plan of our agenda is to do our sport festival in Lagos at a time a year as demonstration sport.
To extreme sports, the annual BMX Day has held at the National Stadium, Lagos, to promote young talent in extreme sports in the country. For the organizers, the event, which featured BMX riders and roller skaters, created a platform to popularize the sport.
To get to that platform where we have a professional competition for each categories, be it BMXing, be it skateboarding, and be it online skating.
BMX riders are working towards the sport becoming a scoring event at the National Sports Festival. With sponsor updates, Gifts George, NTA News.
And that's it on Panorama this day. Before we go, do not forget that the fastest and easiest way to becoming a star is to connect with the NTA to stand against rape and rapists. Enjoy the rest of your day. I am Adeola Komiakiri.